What's up, people? Welcome back to the Ditto music channel. Today we're talking about playlisting, specifically Spotify playlisting, and how you can get your music curated by some of the best in the business. So let's get straight into the video. Roll the toes. Now, if you're watching this video, the chances are that you make your own music, and if that's the case, then you're going to need a distributor to get your music out to places like Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Music, all of the places where you want your listeners to hear it. May I recommend Ditto Music? We have a 30-day free trial so you can try the service before you buy it, and you get to keep 100% of your royalties. I'll leave all the links in the description box below for you to check it out. Anyway, on with the video. Now, in this wonderful world of modern music, your job as the independent artist is no longer just to make the music. When the music is released and it's out there and everyone's listening to it, you now have to develop a completely new set of skills to boost your song to the next level. I am, of course, talking about marketing and promotion, and although there are companies that deal with this sort of thing for a very, very high price, you may not have the budget with your releases to make that a service that is applicable. So, you become your own PR team. Good news for you and for every other independent artist out there, there are many services available to make this job much more straightforward. Throughout this video, I'm going to be showing you some ways that you can get your music onto Spotify playlists and some best practices in how to make a good impression when sending your music to all of these different curators out there. One strong word of advice before we get stuck in is there are services available that offer bot streams. Please, whatever you do, steer clear. This is a surefire way to get your music taken down and to get yourself banned. So let's kick things off with possibly the most simple option, and that's to music submission sites such as Submit Hub, Groover, MusoSoup, etc, etc. There's quite a few out there now. These sites allow you to upload your music via an MP3 or via Spotify link if it's been released already, and then sift through a load of different curators to find ones that potentially fit your music best. They will usually have a load of different parameters that you can adjust to hopefully find the right curators for you. Now, these services usually run on a token-based system, which means you buy a collection of tokens, and then those tokens can be used on a select amount of curators depending on how much those curators are worth. For example, you may have a curator that can put your song onto their playlist that has 2,000 followers, and that might be worth 1 token. There might be another curator which is worth 4 tokens that can get your music out onto a playlist that has 1 million followers. That's kind of how it works. That's why using the parameters available on these services is so important. You need to make sure that the curators you're sending your music to are actually going to be playing your music. There is no point sending a rock song to a hip-hop playlist. There is no point sending a hip-hop song to a rock playlist. You get the idea. Now, in my experience and probably personal opinion, I've had better success with certain genres with certain services. I deal with a lot of pop and hip-hop music, and we've had the most success with MusoSoup. But you, with whatever style of music you make, might have better success with Submit Hub, Groover, Playlist Push. Any of those kinds of services might be better for you. So it's always worth checking out which curators are available on each service before you spend any money. Pros of using a service like this: you get a database of curators that are ready to take your music that you can then click through, spend some tokens. It's quick, it's simple, it's easy, and it feels like the job is done. However, on the flip side, the curators may not really connect with your music, and that is the most important thing here. These services are quite transactional in the fact that your music does get placed on a Spotify playlist, but they're not necessarily doing it because they love the music. They're doing it because you're offering tokens for something that just fits on their playlist, and they can quite easily put you to the bottom of that playlist and just say the job is done. Can I have my tokens? Let's call it a done deal. So because of the transactional nature of these kind of database, token-based services, I would say utilize them because we've had fantastic success from these services in the past. But don't let this be the only thing you do. There are other ways that you can submit your music to different curators and get that personalized touch that is lacking from some of these services. So off the back of that, there are actually services that have appeared in recent years that take all of the guesswork out of that entire process. You can submit your track to places like Sound Campaign, and if they approve it, they will then do all of the legwork. They will go out and find the curators that are most likely to accept and place your music, thus making your life so much easier. So good news for taking the guesswork out of the process, but we're still lacking that personal touch that I believe is so crucial to getting people on board with your music. These curators want to get to know you as an individual, and then they will build that relationship with your music in turn. Because let's not forget, if we bring this right down to its foundations, these music curators are just fans of music. All they want to do is find music they love and share it with the world. So your job is to find them, give them your music, and explain why they should listen to it. So first things first, what is your music all about? Who is it for? Why did you write it? Where did you come from? These are all nuggets of information that you should be including on an EPK or electronic press kit. This is something that you should definitely look into creating ahead of emailing any potential playlist curators. It'll give them a better understanding of what's happening aside from just listening to your song. If they're listening to your track and your EPK is in front of them, what stories are they going to read that's going to enhance the experience of listening to your music? But fear not, if an EPK sounds daunting or stressful at all, we have an amazing guide on how to put together a successful EPK, and I'll leave a link to that in the description box below. So let's talk about how to find independent playlist curators. Now, a sneaky tip, if you type at gmail.com or at hotmail.com into your Spotify search bar and hit the playlists tab, it should bring up a list of playlists that have their contact email in the description. You can then scroll down this list and find the playlist that potentially fit your style of music best, and then email these people directly. Now, going back to these database token services that we mentioned earlier in the video, you can actually find the curators on those platforms and then go to their websites and contact them directly. By doing it this way, you're cutting out the middleman, you're not having to spend money on tokens, and you could potentially build a better relationship by going through them directly. So now let's say you've got yourself an amazing spreadsheet of names and emails that you're going to start emailing your music out to. What should you say? And more importantly, what should you not say? Well, it's important to remember that these people probably get sent a lot of music every single week. So your music not only has to stand out from the rest, but also not waste their time. So being concise is of the utmost importance. So try to make your music sound as compelling as possible in the shortest amount of words. Now, I realize I'm adding yet another skill set to what we as independent artists have to do. But if you're no good at that and it's something you really struggle with, we have something in this day and age that makes it all a hell of a lot easier. I would suggest bullet point everything that you think is interesting about your music, copy and paste that into something like ChatGPT and ask it to write something short, sweet and compelling. Keep going through the prompts until you find something that you think sounds like you. Because in my personal opinion, we're not all professional creative writers, so using the tools we have available to us is perfectly fine as long as we're not just asking it to do all of the work for us. So now you've crafted the body of your email, make sure you put a link to your music. Do not attach an MP3, these people will not be happy if you clog up their inbox. And also, I'm sure it goes without saying, but make sure you address each email to the recipient by their name, otherwise it'll seem a bit impersonal and they'll probably switch off from the get-go. So then just work your way down your list of emails, sending it out to everyone and start building those one-to-one relationships with all of these curators. So now you know some of the best places to send your music to get it curated onto playlists on Spotify. But did you know that Spotify also allow you to pitch directly to their editorial team via your Spotify for Artists dashboard? So make sure you don't miss out and get that in before your music is released. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. And to be notified, make sure you hit that bell button as well. My name's Sean Reynolds. I'll see you again soon for another video. Peace.